99.7 DJX, the Ben Davis and Kelly K Show podcast.
Supplying every demand.
On demand.
Group therapy, we offer up our show as a place for you to maybe get some unbiased advice on a situation that you may have. You can always message us at Ben and Kelly Show or go to thebenandkellyshow.com and send us a little note. So last week, Kelly, do you want to give it a quick recap?
Well, yeah. Okay, so this guy called. He's in a wedding. His friend, the groom, kind of came to us and said, listen, he told me that he wanted to, I guess, sow his wild oats is a good way to say it. Kind of one last hurrah before he settles down. And, he said, I tried to talk him out of it. Kind of blew me off. So, what do I do? Because it's this weekend and I feel like, this is so wrong. I don't want to be a part of it.
Yeah, and a lot of people were just back and forth on, yes, tell the fiance. The fiance needs to know. Maybe she will take what you say and wait and see if he does it. Maybe she will put a stop to it. And then others are just like, absolutely not. You don't get in the middle of this because you're going to ruin your friendship. You're going to ruin, everything.
And I think we landed with give him one more ultimatum. If you do this, I'll tell.
Yeah. Okay. Well, with that, good morning.
Hey, morning.
Thank you, first of all, for getting back with us. So you had quite the weekend.
Yeah, it was, I think what you would expect from a Bachelor weekend.
Yeah, so your friend had a Bachelor party this past weekend, and he had confided in you ahead of time that he just wanted to get it out of his system one more time, and get it out of his system means hook up with someone ahead of the wedding. And, what happened?
Well, so first of all, I got a kick out of all the comments and opinions. I didn't realize it was going to open such a can of worms.
You didn't?
I guess a lot of people do bachelorette parties, so this is a fear of people.
Yeah.
But I texted my friend before we went out, and I just told him I wanted him to reconsider. I told him just kind of one more go. I wanted him to just think about what he was doing, what it really meant. And he basically just got back to me before we left and was like, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal.
Okay. Sure.
So I just went with it, and it was one of those things where I wasn't in charge of anything. I wasn't in charge of where we were going. It was all his older brother actually did it all. But
okay.
I knew something was going to happen because the plan was to start at his brother's house, then have the limo take us to the driver range, dinner, a couple of other places, and then wind back up at his brother's house with some quote-unquote entertainment.
Oh, okay.
And so I kind of got this game plan where I was like, if he's too drunk by the time the entertainment gets there, maybe it's one of those things where it's like I just kind of end up nursing him back through things, and he's not able to make anything happen.
Did it work? What happened?
So that was my plan from the start. And then basically we get to his brother's house, the limo shows up, and we just immediately start drinking. And I'm like, this is great. This is probably going to work out for all of us. And I'm nursing it on my end because I have to kind of see this through.
Absolutely.
And, we get to the next place, back in the limo, more drinks. And it really just kind of starts to work out immediately. He's basically tanked by stop 2.
Okay. All right.
We're at the driving range, and he's already dropping clubs, and then we hadn't even been to dinner yet, which is where by the time we got to dinner and had more drinks, he is all juiced up and having a great time.
Sure.
And then between dinner and bars, he's already barfing outside the limo.
Okay. All right. So far so good, I think, in your whole plan, right?
Yeah. And then I got worried for a bit because he kind of had this kind wind between bars, kind of like that, just a drunk fury where people power through.
Oh my God.
But we just, kind of laid it on, went to another bar to meet up with some girls his brother knew, which was concerning. And that's this is where it all kind of happened, where I got real nervous. But basically by the time we were going to get back to the house, I was just trying to make it work.
Right.
These girls that kind of showed up, they wanted to party at the bar.
Oh,
long story short, we end up just feeding him drinks at the bar, and we like play games where I have to get him to pass out before he can do something. That worked out. I mean, we just served him shot after shot after shot.
Oh, wow. Okay, so he's having a good bachelor party. He's not paying attention to the ladies, and things are good.
Yes, and so by the time we get back in the limo after all of those drinks, he is passed out.
Fantastic. So cheating averted, yes?
Yeah, so I mean, basically done, toast. He's just like, we're all on one side of the limo. He's sleeping on the other side. We carry him in and put him to bed, and the rest of us just kind of wind up finishing the bachelor party and had a good time, of course, but we avoided the cheating scandal.
Good for you, man. I know you couldn't stop it by talking to him, and hopefully, your actions and by just getting him so passed out drunk, you saved him from himself, basically.
Yeah, it was kind of like using one evil to stop another.
All right. Well, in this case, it worked out for you, man. Thank you so much for the follow up, and pat on the back for you for preventing your friend from doing something he might regret.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, and
well, Gretchen though says if he has to work so hard to keep that man from cheating, the guy shouldn't get married.
Yeah, and that is the. Yes, and I kept thinking in the back of my head, too, I'm like, man, it's like you won the battle.
But did you win the war?
Did you win the war?
Yeah,
right.
Because if he had this in his mind, like, who's to say that he won't down the road at some point, get bored in the marriage or whatever, or, get upset that he didn't get a chance to get his last hurrah before it got, who knows? I mean, the idea was already planted in his head. So I don't know. I feel like conversations should already happen, but he did his part. As far as that, I think the rest of it does have to play itself out.
Right. And maybe at this point, you just, you wipe your hands with it and you're like, all right,
exactly.
I'm done. I'm done.
I did my good deed, and now, the rest of that is not my concern.
Yeah, man. Samantha texts in and says, tell him he did. He won't remember. No, let's not tell him he cheated when he didn't. I mean, because that's bad too.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be helpful in this situation.
Yeah, and Brittany texts in and says that doesn't fix the fact that the groom is a DB. He will cheat at some point.
Yeah, I think we're all thinking that. But I think at this point, though, it's not his place to say anything about it.
Yeah. All right. Group therapy